month ago, you said, I'm done with L.A. It's a thin line between becoming more and more common as cities soft on crimes mixed with inflation, create an on-air that's becoming insufferable for many residents. I was in L.A. with Kevin 2 months ago, and we went. He took me out to a nice restaurant. We're having a conversation. I'm looking outside. What was the hotel we were talking about? Right across the hotel, SLS. There's a tree house. Homeless guy built a tree house right there in Beverly Hills.
Wow. How
bad are things in L.A. right now from your point of view?
You know what? Again, that's like where the media is. Go read like the New York Times and they'll tell you this is racist to talk about.
Yeah.
But I have had more friends have interactions with violent crime in the last year and a half than in the previous 30 years combined.
Wow.
So my ex-wife and my brother's ex-wife are on the news running for their lives in Beverly Hills from a shooting at El Paseo on Cannon. I had a friend of mine with his 8-month pregnant wife with a guy put a gun to her stomach at the right behind the Four Seasons Hotel. My ex-wife also grew up with someone whose mother was killed in Beverly Hills this year. If you remember, that guy just walked into her house in Beverly Hills, an 80-year-old plus woman, and shot her. So things are bad, you know. Now, I'm not smart enough to want to get into all of the stuff, whether it's bail reform, whether it's the pandemic, whatever it was. All I know is 3 years ago, it was a very different place. And people are fleeing at crazy rates, and wealthy people. And no matter what anyone wants to say about that, it's going to cause major problems because we already have the highest taxes in the country. And if you take away all the high taxpayers, which, look, I don't make $1 right now, so Conley pays nothing on this podcast that I do. So I mean, it's not, you know, that's not my high concern at this particular second, my own taxes. But it's just getting really bad, and, you know, people don't feel safe. You don't want to drive a nice car. You don't want to wear your watch out. And we go, is this going to become Venezuela? Is this like what the plan is for this place? And, you know, again, I don't want to speak as if I'm smart enough to understand these politicians because I watch them. They try to find their issues that they can win on, and then they go. Whether they believe in anything they're saying, I no longer have any faith in that whatsoever.
What is it at a point where obviously Musk left, Rogan left, a lot of people have left that you read about. Austin, people coming here. Yeah. People are going to Tennessee. People are going to Nevada. Some of the guys are going to Nevada, which I think Mark Wahlberg went to. Some story came out about him leaving in Nevada. I think the story came out last week. Who's the girl from Pretty Woman? Julia Roberts just left as well. Yeah. And she's going to a completely different place. But is it at a point where you're thinking about leaving, or no, that's where you're going to be for the rest of your life because it's the business you're in?
No, 100% I'm thinking about leaving. I have a new show. If it goes, it'll be in L.A. I bought a house in the desert, which I understand isn't leaving California, but La Quinta. So I plan on spending a lot more time out there. But
you got to go in a cave and start writing.
Yeah, but I've looked in Florida, I've looked in Nashville, and I've thought about it, which is sad because L.A. has been a really great place. And Entourage, you know, part of Entourage was a love letter to L.A. and how much I love that place and how I dreamed. You know, my parents didn't let me go to UCLA because they said you'll never come home. And so I dreamt my entire life of being out in California, in Hollywood, and it's a really beautiful place, and you can never ever replace that, and you can never replace the weather. Which, you know, when I come here and I'm sweating at 8 o'clock in the morning, you know, I go, this is tough. But
welcome to Miami.
yeah. So, but I'm seriously thinking about leaving. I'm having a baby, so I cannot even comprehend right now. You know, my fiance walking down the street with a baby right now because it really does not feel safe. So, and you know, again, you're gonna have, you know, jerk-offs like even Seth Rogen's like, oh, that's part of life in the big city. You know, getting your car stolen. But you know what? That's fine when you have $100 million and you can just go this. But you know, when you don't, I got a flat tire. It ruined a week of my life. I got stuck in the desert.
Oh,
you know?
shit.
So I just think that right now, I'm hoping something turns it and people start to wake up, you know, because it is the same thing I say about Kanye. It's like, yeah, we want to help everybody with mental illness, but we can't allow lunatics to be running around the streets because we want to hear what their stories are, you know.
Doug, let me ask you, because I'm the only one here that hasn't spent a decade plus of their life in LA. You spent how many years of your life?
24.
24. You're there for a decade.
Yeah,
You've been there. You're a New York, LA guy. I'm Miami, Florida, born and raised. Was it a slippery slope thing, or did it fall off the cliff avalanche style since COVID.
It fell off the cliff. And, you know, I mean, you had to think there were going to be some repercussions from COVID. I mean, because of what was happening. And, you know, again, for the really rich people, it seemed like, oh, this is a great vacation. But I have so many friends who had businesses in LA that have been destroyed. And, you know, it never made sense to most of us. And you want to protect everyone that you can. But, you know, you just go, what was the point of that? And it's a tough pill to swallow, and I think we're going to feel the effects of this for a long, long time.
Well, let me ask you a follow-up question, because again, born and raised in Miami, like Florida has catapulted to the top of everyone's list since COVID, and you know, a lot of people will put DeSantis on a pedestal for what he's done. And I know you're saying I'm not smart enough. You're a pretty freaking smart guy. At some point, is it sort of the policies, the politicians, they kind of got to be responsible for this nonsense?
You know what?
Whether it's Garcetti or Newsom or Pelosi.
Obviously, policies have to have an effect, but there are cyclical situations that happen in markets and the world. Like I said, you know, I got held up at gunpoint in New York City in front of the Plaza Hotel in 1990. Some of the most expensive real estate on the planet Earth, and there used to be prostitutes standing right outside the Plaza Hotel.
Those were the days, baby.
Great times. But New York was a scary, scary place. The 70s, which I wasn't really around for, were far worse. And
then Giuliani cleaned it up.
He did.
He really did.
And Bloomberg, you know, and he did. But you know, it's such a slippery slope because you can't say shit without people saying you're trying to target this and that. I just want to target criminals. I want to get them off the street. Yep. I want to help people to try to have the best lives they can have. So
you like this Caruso guy that's running?
I do. Yeah.
What do you like about him?
I like that he's a businessman who's accomplished things. I'm so sick of these fucking politicians who've never done anything, and then you watch them become rich as a politician. They're supposed to make $50,000 a year and work to try to make the world better, but they're really working for themselves.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.